Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're hailing from. Welcome to another Developer Experience Office Hour. My name is Chris Short. I am host with the most and showrunner of Red Hat Live Streaming. I am joined by Karthik and Serena from the future. Serena, you want to do a little introduction real quick? If you can find the mute button.
Sure do. Yeah, sorry. Hi, my name's Serena Nichols. I am considered Serena from the future, as we're usually when I'm on here, I'm talking about what's coming up in dev experience in the console. And I'm the product manager for OpenShift Dev Experience. I hand it off to Karthik.
Hello everyone, I'm Karthik Jier. I'm a front-end engineer working with Dev Console UI team. So previously I've worked on some of the pieces around OpenShift serverless and topology. In last two releases, I mostly focused on OpenShift Pipelines UI side of things. Thanks Chris and Serena for having me here. Over to you.
No, it's great to have you, Karthik, really it is. So Serena, we're talking about some new stuff pipeline wise.
We are.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into the features that are going to be available in 4.9 console when OpenShift Pipelines Operator is installed. We're going to go over the Tekton Hub integration as well as pipelines as code. And then if we have some extra time, we might do some more digging into some of the previous features. But we're really happy to have Karthik join us here as he was one of the lead for the pipeline work in the console. So I think I'll just hand it right over to you, Karthik.
Sure, let me share my screen.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Could you just increase the font a little bit on that? Or yeah, the Zoom, whatever thingy.
I think one thing too we wanted to discuss too is like, why would users want Tekton Hub to be integrated into this kind of experience? And when you're using the pipeline builder, you're able to add tasks to your pipeline. Currently, or previous to 4.9, it was either tasks that are in your namespace or cluster tasks that were on your cluster. So this integration with Tekton Hub allows you to grab anything that's in hub.tekton.dev. So all the community tasks essentially. And now Karthik, I'll share it over to you.
Yeah, before I get into the new look of the task adding mechanism, so I'll talk a little bit more about the previous experience for adding task to a pipeline builder. So previously we were having a simple drop down. If you click on add task, it will show a drop down that consists of all the task names and the badges in a drop down. And apart from the name and the badge, we don't show any other information to the user. So often users will be able to select the task which they sometimes they might choose a wrong task and realize later on and open the task and close it, and again they have to repeat the process to select the proper task again. So the main goal of this Tekton Hub integration is to provide the user the ability to actually search the task and read through more information about the task and then add it to the pipeline builder. So let me click on this add task now. So it opens up a quick search model, and user can actually type on the search term. So the results are based on the best match found with against this search term. So you can see all the tasks that are listed here. So the cluster tasks which are already available in the cluster, and we also have namespace tasks which are also available in the cluster will be listed here. Along with that, we are pulling all the tasks from the Tekton Hub interface. So the Tekton Hub library contains a lot of reusable tasks. So we are making use of that. We are pulling all the tasks into the pipeline builder. So user don't have to switch context between the OpenShift and Tekton Hub. So as you can see, the badge here that differentiates between the tasks that are already in cluster. And if you click on that, you can see it is already installed. And we can see the description of the task and the categories and the tags for that particular task. And we can also see a badge here, which says that Red Hat provided and community provided. So this will differentiate between the Tekton Hub and the Red Hat provided tasks. So let's take this task as an example. We haven't added this OpenShift client task into our namespace. So the button here says install and add. So we also show this version dropdown wherein user can choose a version and install it to their cluster. So let me choose 0.1 and click on install and add. So if you have noticed, it showed a loading decorator for a second. So it was installing the task to the cluster. So till that time, you can't perform any other action on that task. So a loading decorator will be shown there. And once the task is added to the pipeline builder, you can click on the task and add the parameters or the when expressions, input resources, and all the configurable stuff. And
like a question, just a quick question on that.
Yeah.
When you're adding the task here, you mentioned this, but we don't have the capability of adding something to the cluster task, right? It's right now we only have the ability to add it in the current namespace.
Yes, correct. That is correct.
Okay.
So
Okay.
once we install it, it's going to add it to only this namespace and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And one more thing to highlight here is previously we were having the drop down list. So if user selects the wrong task, they have to click it again and they have to remove it from here and they need to change it. But now if you hover on this task and it has this delete icon, so you can click on that and quickly change the structure of the task.
Nice. Handy.
So yeah. And one more thing I want to show here is we are showing this installed button here, or badge here, and whatever is installed in the cluster will be pre-selected here. And you click on it, and whatever is installed will have the check mark. And if the user wants to upgrade the task, so we'll show them a warning message because by updating this task, this will replace all the references in this particular namespace. So all the pipelines that are using this task will get updated. So we are showing this error message or warning to the user. And once they hit on update, oops, let me refresh.
It's not a demo without something little going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not live TV unless something breaks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually we have the ability to update the task and add the task to the pipeline builder. And one more thing I wanted to show here is, so as we are composing this pipeline through this pipeline builder, there is always a chance that the user wants to look at what is the underlying structure. So this model blocks the view of the underlying pipeline structure. So we are also added we have added this drag capability, so you can drag the model to different location in your screen, and you can also resize based on the size of your window. If you want to see more information, and you can resize this.
That's great. So question around when you do the search, when you're doing the search, what are you actually matching to in the back, right?
So we are matching to all the text that includes the description, category, tags, and
then the task name itself. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and all the metadata will be matched against this search term.
Excellent. Great. So it's actually interesting because we implemented the Tekton Hub integration, but in addition to that, we really made the experience for pipeline building so much better, right? Because there's a discovery mechanism for your tasks, whereas before, like you were talking, we just had a drop down. If you didn't know what the name of that task did, you're kind of in an unknown state, right? So that's great. Awesome. Okay. I guess one other question I would have is what would happen if you installed OpenShift client here in this namespace, did version 0.2, I think it was, if I remember right. Now, if you go to another namespace and want to reference OpenShift client, what would happen? So if you, yeah.
Okay. So I have installed OpenShift client on the other namespace. So if I try to do that here in the new namespace, it will again show me install and add, because this namespace doesn't have that.
Now, is it possible on a cluster to have two different versions of the same task?
Ooh.
Not in the same namespace,
but in separate namespaces, or are we? I don't remember what happened with that. Yeah.
Because we don't change the name of the task. The name of the task is still the same, and we are going to create it as a namespace task. So the name will be unique. So the versions get updated. So we can't really have two different versions in the same namespace. That is a known limitation.
Right, but can you have two? Can I have V1 in namespace 1 and V2 in namespace 2, or am I constrained? Okay, awesome. Okay, great. Excellent. While we're here, do you want to go over some of the when? I know we had talked originally about doing this later, but while we're in the pipeline builder, do you want to kind of go over some of the when expressions in the final tasks maybe as well?
Yeah, sure. So let me compose a pipeline here. I'll choose a couple of tasks. So when expressions are a way to, actually guard a particular task. So if you want this task to be executed on a condition, then when expressions are really helpful here. So the moment I clicked on add when expression, diamond symbol popped up here, and that says this task is guarded by a when expression, and it also guides the user to fill out the form. So if you open it and if you don't fill out the form, and the create button in the pipeline builder will be disabled, and the error decorator here will guide the user to actually fill this form section. So here there are three fields that we need to fill. One is input, and the operator is nothing but in or not in. It's equals or not equals kind of thing, and values. So input can be a parameter or the name of the pipeline, or it could be any variable that is available in this particular pipeline. So we can also do dollar and a parentheses to open the code assistance feature here. So this will help us to fill in this form. So here I've chosen context dot pipeline run name. So, and I can also use control plus spacebar. That opens up the same code assistance feature. And here it shows all the context of the pipeline. So if I have parameters, let's say, so I'll have a default value to stage, and I want to run this task only on the stage environment, then I can come here and click on control plus spacebar. This will give me the params that I can use. So I'll click on that, and I can choose in, and the values I'll give as maybe prod. So I need to run this task only on prod. So once I'm happy with the when expression, I can hit on create. So the visualization also has that when expression decorator in front of that particular task.
Nice.
Then I can start the pipeline and the parameters will be asked. So user can say prod. So let me first run it with the stage environment. So this task expression will fail and this task should be skipped.
I like that. Like the way we've integrated this, it makes it very easy to pull those environment variables in. That's very handy.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think
along
the other
with
thing too is like I was going to ask you if you go over the colors and the symbols, kind of the icons that are shown there.
Yeah, so this task is skipped, so it is grayed out and says when expression was not met.
Mm-hmm.
So if I try to start the pipeline again with prod, so this is executing the task because the when expression is met.
Nice.
The other thing I'm just going to mention is that in each one of those little bubbles for each of the tasks, Karthik, we have like the underline,
Right.
right? I think that represents the number of steps that are in that task.
Yes, so
right?
those steps are shown inside this tooltip.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, so for people who haven't seen it before, just trying to give more info there. So there can be multiples. And then those are also the lines underneath that colored, as is the tooltip also indicates the status of each one of those steps in the tasks as you're doing it.
Right.
So that's great.
So along with the not only the parameters, it can also have variables like workspaces, so results, context. So if I have a workspace, so this code assistance will reference that as well.
Awesome.
Nice.
And we have this code assistance feature in all the parameters. So even here, if we want to change it, we can hit Control plus spacebar. That opens up this one. And
That's
we can
great.
also add this when expression to finally tasks as well. So exact same procedure. So
and just for an overview of the finally tasks, those are kind of executed no matter what happens to the previous steps, previous tasks in the pipeline, right? So
exactly.
When might somebody use that, like for cleanup possibly, or something like that?
Yeah, possibly, maybe at the end they need to clean up a workspace or send some notifications, Slack notifications to some other subsystem or users. So this finally tasks will run no matter what happens to the regular pipeline tasks. So it's guaranteed to be executed, but we can even guard the task with when expressions. So we can conditionally run them.
Very cool.
Very nice. Okay. That's great. Chris, do you have any other? I think we're kind of ready to move on to pipelines as code. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was great. I think that was a great overview. Thanks, Karthik, for sharing that. I think the next piece that we wanted to go over was around pipelines as code, right? Which allows the ability to store delivery pipelines in a Git repo as the source of truth and execute pipelines
which is
from there. Right. And lots of people have been I know, waiting for this feature, and it's already supported by OpenShift Pipelines. It's just something that we are following up with integration into the console.
Question from chat. Can I go back and forth between the pipeline builder and the YAML view? Like it'll pick up the changes in YAML?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
So
that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Knowing y'all.
Okay. So I have already installed pipeline as code in this cluster. So just for demo purpose. And so this is the repository where you can see there is a walkthrough video created by Shumail. And
nice.
Those who wants to try it, they can watch this video. And there is also an installation guide. I followed this one. So we can create this, we can install this pipeline as code using this YAML file. And then it creates a bunch of resources into your pipelines as code namespace. And we need to get the event listener. So the pipeline as code will have a event listener that is already exposed. So we can use that URL to configure the webhook in the GitHub repository.
I'm going to share this GitHub repo with everybody real quick. Oh, you already did, Serena. Thank you.
So I have used this URL, and so I already created a GitHub app that for testing pipeline as code. So in that GitHub app, I've added the webhook URLs here, and also in my repository webhook. So this is the repository I'm gonna use. And in the settings, I have added the same URL, event listener URL, as a webhook here. And if you look at the repository, it has .tekton folder that houses the pipeline that needs to be run on this event. So it has a pull request.yaml file that is basically a pipeline run that is embedded pipeline spec is there. So this pipeline has simple 3 tasks, just echoing out some values. So fetch, build, and deploy. So I've created.
Do you mind if I share? Do you mind if I share your repo as well of your demo app? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
I already copied it. Okay, great. Thanks. Just in case people want to try it on their own.
Sure. And I've already created the secrets in this cluster. So all I need to do here is create a repository in the namespace where I want to create this pipeline run. So in my case, I'll go to rhdev and click on pipelines. And previously we were having only pipelines list, but now once the pipeline as code is installed, now you will have a tabbed view, and this will contain pipelines and the list of repositories. And the create button here will also let you create pipeline and repositories. So I'll click on the repository. I'll paste the repository CR. So this repository CR actually ties the GitHub repo and your namespace in the cluster and the branch and the event type. So let me change the GitHub URL and the namespace. So, and I'll leave this event type to pull request. So I want to trigger a pipeline run whenever a pull request is created. I'll hit on create. This takes me to the repository details page. It has the basic details about the repository, and we can change the labels, annotations, and it gives you the link to the GitHub repo and what branch and pull request or event type. And it has the YAML view and all the pipelines that are created through this repository that will be linked here. So now let me go back to my GitHub repository and I'll create a new file.
I like how that said patch 3. You've done this a few times, haven't you?
Yeah. Just 2 times. So
All right. Merged, closed.
yeah, this should take some time.
Yeah.
So now that pipeline run should become, you should see a pipeline run automatically generated here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Once the controller picks up those changes.
Right. And I love to say this all the time. Clearly, he did a demo prep twice, and it worked the 2 times before. So you,
We know it worked twice.
we always
Can we make it
know
work
what
a third time?
It's always
So
the way.
the demo gods
As
are
it
not
did too.
happy, it seems.
Just on the console side, hit the details or something just to make the page
Yeah.
refresh. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Let's dev namespace pull request. Okay, one check failed.
Oh, that's your previous work. Looks like.
Okay, this is in
Oh, it's
progress.
in progress. Okay.
It's progress. Yeah. There we go. Well, Chris, you said that people like to watch us have to resolve issues when we're demoing. So Karthik was doing a great job.
Yeah, I think this
troubleshooting
is,
it.
I mean, this is all in the operator, right? Like it's just got to pick up the changes. You didn't write the wrong branch down or something, did you? Just out of curiosity.
So
No. Okay.
no.
This is main. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know what the deal is there.
Okay. So I think I tried it previously with another
It says
repository.
a few seconds ago, last run.
Oh.
Is that page not?
It just got?
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Okay. So it just happened. Ta-da.
Oh no, this is his previous. Right. This is the different. This is a different project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me try again. Okay, let me see what
Wait, did you need to
webhooks
squash
has.
that?
Webhooks are successful.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so if we want to debug, then so pipeline says the code is the controller, and this is the event listener. You can view the logs.
Okay. It says interceptor stop triggering process. Huh. RPC. What?
Okay, let me see if it is creating in some other namespace. Ah, see, it got created here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where is here?
1 minute.
Format.
So this happens
Interesting.
if the namespace is not matching. So
Oh, so RHDev, maybe there was a hyphen in it or not a hyphen in it, maybe?
So JM in chat says the main branch on the GitHub repo is named mastered. Your pipeline is expecting a PR on main.
Oh.
This branch main here, though, is that master? That's just the comment master. It is main there from master.
it is a main.
So
right.
yeah, it should in theory work.
Yeah, it is creating the pipeline runs, but not in this namespace.
Huh.
It is creating in pipelines as code.
How about in the YAML for this? Did you have RHDev or did you have RH-dev?
Ooh, good point.
Oh, you have hyphen. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Weird.
Very interesting.
I wonder if that's maybe a GitHub symptom where it's like main or master. It's confused, but it built just elsewhere in the.
But it worked on the other one, right? And even
right.
when you you have it in your Karthik project, it was working properly
yeah,
there, right?
it was working. It was working. Yes.
Yeah. 2 minutes ago, just fired. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if you go in there and go to pipeline runs, you can see those that were generated based on those. So it's interesting. Something.
Dev preview, folks.
Yeah.
Or there's a typo somewhere that we just didn't catch. Probably more likely, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Reminds me to throw up the future stuff that we have.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
can we talk a little bit about what the advantage of pipelines as code would be rather than having pipeline quote unquote resources created and using the pipeline builder in your cluster? Like, what would the advantage of that be for somebody? Just because everything's in Git, so it's single source of truth. So you've got your pipeline definitions just stored in Git.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you go again back to the pipelines nav item? If you have pipelines as code created, you'll see them. You see those repositories here. If you don't, if you have pipelines that were generated either in YAML or through the pipeline builder, you'd find them in the pipelines tab.
Yes.
Yeah. And then either way, could you do a search and just show how you can look at all of your pipeline resources together, like through the nav? And then maybe even add pipeline resources to your, I'm sorry. So if you click on search in the nav and then just look for pipeline resources, PLR.
Okay.
And the resource ones. Yeah. I'm sorry, the runs. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to add it to the navigation?
I was going to add the pipeline runs to the nav. Yeah.
Nice.
Because then if you just click on that in nav now, it's easy to see all those pipeline runs quickly. But those would also be showing, and And that would also be showing you pipeline runs that are associated with a pipeline that's from Git or one that you built from Pipeline Builder.
Yeah.
So
can you clone a pipeline is a question from chat. Like if you
So
built
we
it in the builder, yeah.
Yeah, we can. I mean, cloning a pipeline. Okay.
So I think you would
So-
have to pull out the YAML and then
Yeah.
reinstantiate it someplace else. That'd be the
yeah,
way to do it, right? Like pull from the repo. But I see what you're saying, Waleed. You want to be able to like reuse these in cluster without doing too much.
Yeah, it would be interesting what the use cases he's looking for, because we have talked about, should you be able to, and I think maybe this is what he's going to say, I'm not sure, but start off with I want to create a new pipeline based off of one that exists today.
Like exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
So
like,
pull in, and then I'm going to make some additions. I'd be curious to know if that's what he's looking for, because we
variables, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we do have that in the backlog. So
yeah,
if people are interested in that, definitely do like +1 or something.
Yeah,
so
well,
we can
let us know your use case a little bit, and maybe that gets bumped up. I don't know. I'm not the dictator of that.
Well, it helps to know who's looking for what, for sure, right? So yeah, okay.
So yeah, he is
Excellent.
trying to. It does sound like he's trying to clone something and then modify as needed. So yeah.
Yeah. And again, so Karthik, can you just do another quick? So we're saying this is an OpenShift 4.9 that will be coming out. What version of OpenShift pipelines would we have at that point? Do you remember? I don't remember off the top of my head.
1.6 will be the version.
Would be the version. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that's when we would get that. Okay.
Nice.
Awesome. So that, I think that kind of does it for the kind of the deep dive in the UI piece around pipelines. I don't know.
So Waleed said that is the use case for creating based on an existing one. Yeah. So
perfect.
might
okay, that's great.
See where that sits in the backlog, maybe.
Yeah, I'll share that back with Siamak too, because Siamak is product manager for pipelines itself. So we coordinate as priorities and how to get things into the console. But it's great to know that somebody's looking for that. Somebody else is looking for that for sure.
I mean, I could definitely see that in organizations across the globe, that being something, right? Like that comes from like Ansible, I feel like, like the ability to pull something in, tweak it, and then run it,
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Karthik, are there any other other usability tests usability features that we could talk about?
So I think we have covered all the
everything for 4.9. Yeah. The other thing that people have asked for that we don't have done yet is when you're looking at the pipeline logs, there's been some requests around having that be colored.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, like the output? Yeah.
Yeah. Because right now everything's just a, single color point.
Right.
But it would also be interesting for anybody to pipe in through the chat if that's something that they feel is
so the support was there in 3.11, but in 4.x we don't have that. So we already have a feature request and Patternfly team working on building this log viewer with support of ANSI colors in it.
Nice.
So hopefully we can have that soon.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. No, and then I think the hope would be then
colors and logs. So it's just me.
Yeah. I think that the hope there would be that all of our logs in OpenShift, not only the pipeline log viewer, would all be utilizing that same Patternfly component.
Exactly. If you're not familiar, Patternfly is the, what do we want to call it? The template toolkit we use, the open
source design system.
There you go. Maybe? Open source design system. Right. Like think of it as theme plus for your website. If you used to like WordPress applying a theme, that's basically the framework on top of which we build this UI.
Right.
Questions about analytics on pipeline executions.
We actually do have metrics today.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Now, since this is probably not a long living cluster, I'm not sure how much we'll see here for metrics, but we can give you an idea.
Yeah, the metrics are there for the regular pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
the
that's right.
metrics
Yes.
tab is here. Let me
So not for
first start
pipelines
the
as code. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe kick off a few, right?
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah. And then
Well,
they're off
make
of the pipe.
logs. Rah.
There we go.
All right. Just wait a few
So
seconds
Nice.
here.
Takes a couple seconds for
Yeah,
those
it's a
to.
30-second refresh too. So
Yeah.
there we go.
There we go.
Stuff's coming in. So yeah, you do have some analytical data there. I'm curious, Waleed. Waleed responded, for example, to see if there are some abnormally slow executions compared to previous
So-
executions, right? Like that's a good point.
So that in the bottom left, there is pipeline run duration. So that's for the entire pipeline run.
Mhm.
So you would be able to see that from a historical perspective, right?
Nice.
Like each one of
Okay.
those.
And it even breaks
then-
down which task. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can hide a task and see
Ooh.
only.
Nice.
Through the legends. Yeah. That's really nice.
It is, yeah, because then you can just focus on the problem. Yeah.
And that's
Recruiter
all, if I'm
has-
not mistaken, these are all pattern fly components too. So, we should be having that same functionality in any chart that you're seeing throughout the console, which is great. Yeah, so Waleed, it looks like this is the bottom left chart is giving you what you're looking for, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for the entire pipeline, and then each task has one, so that's good too. I think you're hitting that nail twice, basically.
I think we do notice one thing here on the left is just that maybe we don't go into enough granularity because it looks like we're saying 0 minutes. Yeah, right. So that's probably a nice enhancement on our side that we could work on.
Yeah.
Right, because that's 30 seconds, but it's still saying
minute.
0
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
That's yeah. It looks like this is what Waleed's looking for. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's great. Good. All right. Well, I think that's all we have today, Chris.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, this is good stuff. Like, I can't wait for this to GA, right? Like, it's going to make a lot of people's lives easier.
Definitely.
So thank you, Serena, for so much. Thank you, Karthik, for the wonderful demo. And thank you, audience, for watching. Coming up next on the show, on the channel, we have Call for Code for Racial Justice, talking about the Truth Loop project, which is an open source project to make people aware of legal ramifications and personal responsibilities, that kind of thing. So tune in for that. And then immediately after, we will have Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management Presents. And the title of this show is A Little Bit of Everything, because it literally is a little bit of everything from the Rackham team. So please stick around for the next couple hours, and we'll see you on the next live stream. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.